Good morning, darlings. Okay, so this is assessment preparation. It falls under the Christmas Carol because we're looking at what makes a Christmas Carol a good story, and we're then going to try and apply some of those same qualities to our own writing. Okay, so what makes a good story? Okay. When I asked this question in class, some clever soul, and I'll leave you to consider who that might have been, went, language, methods, and structure, miss. Duh, no kidding. So, language, methods, and structure. Now, ordinarily, I would get you to write down what you thought fell under each one of these categories in each column. However, because this is a lesson online, I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is give you what actually falls under these titles in these columns. Okay, so in language, we're looking at interesting vocabulary, simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, or compound complex sentences, purposeful word choice to make the reader consider a particular idea, words chosen for their connotations, and ambitious vocabulary. Now, with that go things like similes, chosen to move the plot along or develop the depth of character, for example, metaphors, which help develop the plot or reveal a character's feelings, maybe, alliteration, pathetic fallacy, personification, all those methods you have on your sheets where we did the matching of the chart are what falls under the methods, okay? Now, structure is slightly different. Structure involves things like foreshadowing, zooming in or out of a particular character or an action, back out to a wider scope, flashing forward or back in time, paragraph placement, what's, where, and why. So we talked about this a little bit with Scrooge being horrific at the beginning and not in stave 3, why we needed to be immediately impressed with this version of Scrooge, where this impression had to be made upon us of him being a horrific, horrible, mean-spirited, greedy person, and therefore by the end of stave 5, where he's redeemed himself, where he's had his redemption and his reclamation, the impact is more significant, because if we hadn't known immediately that A, Marley was dead, and that B, Scrooge was horrible, the impact wouldn't have been so significant. Okay, so paragraph placement and also information placement, that's this one down here, and sentence length. So if it's short, it might accept a point because there's a full stop and there's no arguing. If it's long, it might reflect their feelings about something taking a long time, for example. I use this in my work. There is a character I'm writing at the moment, and she's really impatient for the ceremony that's going to happen later that evening, and her sentences are long and drawn out to reflect just how impatient she is and how slowly she feels time is dragging. Okay, now why is this relevant? Well, in English language paper 1, you'll be expected to answer question 2 looking for these two things, question 3 looking for structure, and question 4 looking for all of them. Okay, and the idea is that you analyze for question 2 language and methods, and for question 3 you analyze the structure, and for question 4 you put it all together, and then for question 5, which is a writing task, you are able to put all of these things into your own work effectively, meaning you don't just whack them on in there for the sake of it and hope for the best, meaning that you choose your vocabulary, that you choose the metaphors, that you choose to zoom in and out of particular actions or characters, that you vary your paragraph length, and you choose in which order to place your paragraphs to create a really solid, great piece of writing, which is kind of what we're going to practice now. So before half term, you will have an assessment, and we will ask you to write something sort of in line with Scrooge and stuff like that. We're going to ask you to write something scary, probably. But for the time being, in preparation for that, you will get something that looks like this on your exam paper. It will say either write a description based on the image below, or write an extremely scary ghost story. There's 24 marks for technical accuracy. For content and organisation, sorry. That's what you put where and why. Content and organisation, and 16 for technical accuracy, which is essentially your SPAG, your spelling, punctuation and grammar. Okay, so whilst you're doing this, this is your assessment, this is your work. It's not an assessment, it's practice for you guys. We're just going to put the title up there so you don't get too panicked. What you need to do is think about paragraphs. I want you to keep your tense, past or present consistent until you can do it really, really well. It's not going to look like you're purposely playing with it until you've got a really secure grasp of what makes a good piece of work. Keep the person first or third consistent for the same reason. Use ambitious vocabulary, but use it accurately. Don't just whack a word in there hoping that it fits your sentence and for your character and your setting and your plot. Make sure you're using them accurately. And I want you to use pathetic fallacy, please. It doesn't have to be every single sentence, but I want it in there. So that's this task, and this is where we're up to on the 5th of October. This is the last thing that the class was given to do. So go ahead and do that if you're off school for whatever reason, and I will hopefully see you very soon, and I will do the upcoming lessons by the end of this week. If you're still off, then this is the place to come and check them out. If you need any help, if you want me to check a paragraph, if you are struggling, if you haven't got a clue, if you don't know how to word a scary ghost story, if you need any sort of help, you can either ask a friend, if you've got any, or you can tweet me at Miss Hine English, or you can email me and ask for help if you want me to check a paragraph. Have fun with this. It's a really good way to stretch your brain and flex your creative muscles. Not your real ones. You haven't got any of those. You haven't got any of those. You know who I'm talking to. No. Flex your creative muscles and give it a good go. Listen, if it's rubbish, it's rubbish, but I can't mark a blank page. So try your best. Try and scare me. Bearing in mind, I've seen a lot in my old age, so you probably can't. So challenge accepted, maybe? Challenge offered, definitely. Okay? Try your best. Don't forget these things on the right-hand side, and off you go. And I will see you soon. If you need me, you know where I am. You take care.